Chen and his group landed on a massive, gray-black tree. Their eyes gazed ahead, where they saw a vast forest stretching out before them. The trees in this forest alternated between gray and white, their trunks bare of branches and leaves, giving the entire scene the appearance of a sharp, unyielding forest of spears, sending a chill down one's spine. However, they did not linger on the scene for long. Instead, their focus was directed to the center of the forest. There, a dense aura of death filled the air, and ghostly, gray-white shadows drifted like wandering spirits. The rough glance revealed nearly 1,000 of them. That a dark light appeared between Chen's brows as he activated his annihilation eye, piercing through the heavy death aura. Instantly, the scene deep within the forest became much clearer in his vision. Under a large tree in the depths, a dark shadow was seated in a meditative position. The shadow's body was clad in black armor, which was enveloped in death aura. Fluctuations of this death energy were so intense that even Chen's expression grew more serious. The death energy surrounding this black beast spirit was far stronger than that of the 7th grade beast spirit they had encountered before, indicating that this was likely an 8th grade beast spirit. Chen murmured in surprise as he studied the beast spirit with his annihilation. He noticed something strange. The armor on the beast spirit appeared rather damaged. There were deep wounds across its body, exposing its gray-white bones. Moreover, the death energy surrounding it seemed disordered, as though it had just been through a fierce battle. "What's going on?" Xun'er asked softly from beside him. "This 8th grade beast spirit seems to have sustained some injuries," Chen replied, a bit puzzled. He had already used his annihilation eye to check the surroundings, and there were no other teams nearby. So where did this beast spirit's injuries come from? Xun'er, Mo, Han Shan, and the others were also surprised by this discovery. Then, they all smiled in relief. "Seems like the heavens are on our side. A wounded 8th grade beast spirit is certainly easier to deal with than one in perfect condition." Chen smiled, but didn't dwell too much on it. He shifted his gaze back to the death-filled forest, his eyes flickering with thought. Xun'er turned to Chen and said, "There are still quite a few beast spirits in this area, including some 7th grade beast spirits. If we provoke them, things could get troublesome. If the 8th grade beast spirit charges out as well, we'll be in serious trouble." Looking at their team, it seemed they might struggle to deal with the 8th grade beast spirit alone. Adding the large number of other beast spirits to the mix would only make things more difficult. Han Shan and the others turned their gaze to Chen, silently hoping for a solution. That it seemed like they could only rely on him now. Chen pondered for a moment, his eyes sweeping across the area. Then he spoke. "Ordinary beast spirits have weak senses. I can use a spirit array to trap them. As for the 7th grade beast spirits, their senses are much sharper. The safest option is to deal with them all. Otherwise, if they charge and while we're focused on the 8th grade beast spirit, it could throw us into chaos. But there are at least 30 of those 7th grade beast spirits." Mo blinked her large eyes. That was roughly equivalent to 30 7th grade supremes. Could they handle all of them? It might have been difficult before, but now, do you think the semi-holy artifacts in your hands are just for show? Chen smiled. With the power of their semi-holy artifacts, even a large number of 7th grade supremes would struggle to fight them. While there were many 7th grade beast spirits, they would just be an inconvenience. "We'll handle the 7th grade beast spirits. You focus on setting up the spirit array." Xun'er nodded. They had relied on Chen's strength so far, and if they couldn't handle this task, it would be hard to justify. Chen nodded in agreement. Then without further words, he descended from the treetop and found an open area. He clasped his hands together, and as his sealing techniques changed, after images flickered, and spirit seals imbued with spiritual light appeared one after another. With a snap of his fingers, these seals merged into the space around him. The spirit seals fused with the space. The surrounding heaven and earth spiritual energy began to subtly ripple, and faint beams of spiritual energy extended from the void. Chen's sealing techniques continued for almost 10 minutes before the spirit seals finally dissipated completely. He raised his head and looked at the space before him, a satisfied smile appearing at the corner of his mouth. The spirit array he had set up this time was called the Illusion Demon Formation, Its rank wasn't particularly high, and it only had effects similar to an illusion array. If a person were trapped inside. Even someone at the 6th grade supreme stage could quickly notice and escape. However, the beast spirits here possessed great power but lacked intelligence and perception, so the binding effect of this spirit array on them would be incredibly strong. Moreover, Chen had specifically strengthened the range and spiritual power of this array. Unless something unexpected occurred, it should be enough to trap all the beast spirits in this area. After successfully setting up the array, Chen made a hand gesture toward the top of a nearby tree. 9 Nether nodded in acknowledgement, then swiftly leaped into the forest filled with deathly energy. Roar. Upon entering the forest, 9 Nether didn't try to conceal her life force. As soon as she appeared, the roaming beast spirits within the forest roared, and countless figures shot out like ghosts, charging straight toward her. 9 Nether did not hesitate, pushing her speed to the limit as she circled around the edge of the forest. Since there were many 7th grade beast spirits inside, she didn't step foot into the forest itself. Roar. In just 2 or 3 minutes, when 9 Nether emerged again, she was followed by a massive horde of beast spirits. The sheer number of them sent a chill down the spines of Shan and the others, watching from the treetops in the distance. 9 Nether headed straight for the location where Chen had set up the array, leading the enormous group of beast spirits into the vast spirit array. The moment the beast spirits entered the array, Chen altered his hand seal, immediately activating the array. Buzz. In an instant, dazzling spiritual light burst forth from the void. Countless spiritual energy beams intertwined, forming intricate spiritual patterns, which ultimately coalesced into a massive array that enveloped the area. Chen and 9 Nether quickly withdrew from the array's range as it was activated, standing atop a large tree, watching the scene. The countless beast spirits inside the array were like headless flies, frantically darting around. Every time one seemed ready to escape, it would turn back on its own. Not bad, 9 Nether said with a nod, impressed. The techniques of a spiritual array master were indeed marvelous. While ordinary cultivators might possess tremendous battle power, it was rare to see such an effective trap for so many beast spirits with minimal effort. I added a few things to this array that can interfere with the beast spirit's perception of life energy. As long as the array's spiritual power doesn't run out, they should just keep running in circles, Chen explained with a smile. 9 Nether nodded, her beautiful gaze shifting toward the depths of the forest. After dealing with this horde of beast spirits, they would need to rely on themselves to handle the 7th grade beast spirits. It's up to you now, Chen said with a smile, before heading toward another part of the forest. He needed to prepare for dealing with the 8th grade beast spirits. 9 Nether watched him leave, then nodded to Feng, Shan, and the others. The group quickly swept into the forest, drawing closer to the area where the 7th grade beast spirits resided. In the depths of the forest, shadows of dark gray roamed. These beast spirits exuded powerful death energy, far stronger than the previous ones. Roar. As 9 Nether and the others entered the deeper areas, their life force was immediately sensed by the 7th grade beast spirits. The low growls and roars of the beast spirits echoed, followed by the sound of wind tearing through the air as nearly 10 7th grade beast spirits surrounded them in a flash. Seeing this many 7th grade beast spirits, Shan and the others couldn't help but change their expressions. If they had encountered such a number before, they would have immediately chosen to retreat. Swish. The beast spirits did not hold back. Without a moment's hesitation, they attacked. The death energy surged like a gray flood, enveloping 9 Nether and her group. With 10 7th grade beast spirits attacking simultaneously, the death energy was powerful enough to make even a peak 6th grade supreme cultivator avoid its full force. But 9 Nether stepped forward. With a snap of her jade-like hand, the dark divine ruler appeared and swung down sharply. Black light filled the area, as if devouring all the light in the world. The dark radiance swept down, immediately weakening the overwhelming flood of death energy by more than half. At the same time, a crisp bell sound rang out, and the world suddenly became scorching hot. Rolling crimson flames descended from the sky, directly burning away all the approaching death energy. In the distance, Ling shook the fiery red bell in her hand with a cheerful smile. The crimson flame, which even a 7th grade supreme couldn't withstand, surged out from the bell. The combined attack of the 10 7th grade beast spirits was effortlessly neutralized under the combined strength of Jiuyo and Ling. Seeing such results, both Jiuyo and Ling couldn't help but show expressions of surprise. If this had happened before, even if they had exhausted all their strength, It would have been impossible to withstand such a terrifying attack. But now, it was done so easily. Truly worthy of being a near-sane artifact, Jiuyo couldn't help but exclaim. No wonder even Earth's supreme-level experts would covet such sacred artifacts. Their power is indeed incredibly formidable. Boom. As the death energy flood was completely burned away, a golden spear, shining with ancient light, howled through the air. The spear's edge flashed and pierced through the head of a 7th-grade beast spirit, shattering it in an instant. Bang! A black iron rod descended from the sky, and its shadow hit the ground, tearing a massive rift in the earth. The body of a 7th-grade beast spirit beneath the rod shattered instantly. Imofeng and Han Shan's sudden strike also immediately yielded astonishing results. The four exchanged glances, their spirits lifted. With the powerful near-saint artifacts now cleared of any obstacles, they no longer held back. Like fierce tigers, they charged forward and clashed directly with the remaining 7th-grade beast spirits. The immense spiritual energy erupted, leaving the 3 remaining Rhinoceros Demon Clan experts dumbfounded as they watched the 4 unleash their might. The previously advantageous numbers of the beast spirits crumbled in an instant. In less than a few minutes, the 10 7th-grade beast spirits were completely wiped out. With such an invigorating start, Jiuyo and the others didn't hesitate to rush toward the remaining 7th-grade beast spirits in the forest, intending to clear the area as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, as Jiuyo and the others gradually dealt with the remaining 7th-grade beast spirits in the forest, Mu Chen's preparations were also drawing to a close. Clap, clap. Mu Chen stood on a tree trunk, lightly clapping his hands. His eyes then fixed on the deepest part of the forest, where an overwhelming wave of death energy swept across. Faintly, a shadow appeared, exuding an oppressive aura. Mu Chen narrowed his eyes as he watched the shadow and then smiled faintly. Next, it's your turn. As Mu Chen finished his preparations, a sound of wind breaking reached his ears. Then, Jiuyo, Imofeng, Han Shan, and the others appeared in a flash. The 4 showed expressions of delight. Clearly. After dealing with the dozens of 7th-grade beast spirits earlier, they had fully realized the immense power of the near-saint artifact in their possession. With this artifact in hand, even 7th-grade Supreme Peak experts no longer posed a threat to them. Mu Chen smiled as he saw their confidence and turned his gaze toward the deepest part of the forest, where the death energy was growing denser. It seemed that the 8th-grade beast spirit was starting to sense the commotion nearby. Next, we go for the decapitation, Mu Chen said. Upon hearing his words, Jiuyo and the others' expressions gradually became more serious. They clearly knew that the 8th-grade beast spirit was not to be compared to the earlier 7th-grade ones, much like how they understood the vast difference between 7th-grade and 8th-grade Supremes. With the near-saint artifact, they could easily deal with 7th-grade Supremes, but facing a true 8th-grade Supreme, they might still be outmatched. However, at this moment, none of them showed any signs of retreat. They exchanged determined glances and nodded. As for the other Rhinoceros Demon Clan experts, they prudently stepped back, knowing their typical 7th-grade Supreme strength was insufficient for this battle. Seeing that everyone was ready, Mu Chen no longer hesitated. With a wave of his hand, he shot forward like a streak of light, charging directly into the deepest part of the forest in just a few flashes. Jiuyo and the others followed closely behind. Crunch, crunch. Mu Chen's figure landed in front of a massive ancient tree in the center of the forest. The death energy here was so thick that it felt almost tangible, sticky like they were wading through a swamp. His gaze was firmly fixed on the giant tree, where a black figure sat silently, a terrifying death aura swirling like a dragon. Surging into its body with every breath it took, a powerful sense of oppression emanated from its body. At the moment when Mu Chen and the others locked their gaze on it, the black figure's eyes slowly opened. Inside its eye sockets was nothing but emptiness, with only gray-black death energy coiling. It was like a vortex. Anyone who stared at it for too long would feel their life force drained, sucked in and devoured. Though there was no sign of spiritual intelligence in its eyes, an eerie sense of malevolence radiated from it. The danger it exuded far surpassed that of the beast spirits they had encountered before. The 9 Nether and the others grew increasingly serious, clearly sensing the formidable nature of this 8th-grade beast spirit. The 8th-grade beast spirit slowly rose to its feet. Its body appeared stiff, but there was no sluggishness in its movements. In fact, it carried a terrifying sense of sudden power, as if it could strike like a thunderclap. Roar! The 8th grade beast spirit locked its gray-black eyes on Mu Chun and the others, then let out a low growl from its throat. The growl contained a hint of intimidating force. Although it lacks intelligence, its instincts are far from weak, Mu Chun muttered in surprise. Despite its injuries, this 8th grade beast spirit knew, instinctively, that now was not the time to engage in a direct battle. Instead, it was attempting to intimidate them and drive them away. But today, your beast heart will be mine, Mu Chun declared. Though the 8th grade beast spirit couldn't understand his words, it sensed Mu Chun's intent. The gray-black death aura in its eyes grew thicker, and its growls deepened. Boom! A surge of terrifying death aura suddenly swept out. The massive trees surrounding them were torn apart, and the 8th grade beast spirit shot forward like a flash of gray light. Its speed was incredibly fast. Like a thunderclap, in the blink of an eye, it appeared, right in front of Mu Chun and the others, then swung a punch that a vast torrent of death aura surged outward, resembling a colossal dragon made of death energy. The death energy dragon roared and charged forward, tearing the ground apart, creating deep, bottomless fissures. Anything in its path was reduced to dust under its overwhelming force. With its first strike, the 8th grade beast spirit displayed a power so terrifying it left everyone stunned. 9 Nether's face grew even more solemn as she was the first to act. Spiritual energy surged through her body without hesitation, and the dark divine ruler in her hand blazed with dark light. The surrounding light was swallowed up by the darkness. Buzz. The dark divine ruler buzzed as it trembled. The black light surged, quickly expanding until it reached a size of about 10 feet. With a swift motion, it descended, and a black moon seemed to rise in the sky, swallowing up all the surrounding light beneath its shadow. The black moon, along with the dark ruler, cut through the death energy dragon, and the enormous body of the dragon visibly shrank by almost half. Even though the dragon had shrunk, its power was still immense, and its terrifying force remained unchanged. Crimson Flame, Immortal Bell. At that moment, a clear voice rang out, and a crimson bell floated in the air. It chimed, releasing a high-pitched sound as endless magma flames surged out. The temperature of the surrounding environment skyrocketed. Even the air itself seemed to catch fire. Boom! The collision of the molten lava and the death energy dragon unleashed a violent explosion, and the shockwave was intense, raising the temperature to unimaginable levels. The grayish-white earth below was set ablaze in an instant. Roar! The thick death aura from the death energy dragon spewed forth, dousing the lava flames with an overwhelming force. Boom! The black iron rod and the ancient golden spear tore through the air with incredible momentum. With their combined might, they finally ripped the death energy dragon apart, scattering it into countless gray sparks that in the back. Mu Chun watched in astonishment as 9 Nether and her companions used the power of 4 quasi-sacred objects to block and dissipate the 8th grade beast. Spirits attacked. It was clear that, with their strength, they were barely able to hold their own against the 8th grade supreme. However, this was likely just a temporary respite. The true power of the 8th grade beast spirit had yet to fully emerge. Roar! Just as the thought flashed through Mu Chen's mind, a deathly roar suddenly erupted, following the scattering of deathly energy lights across the sky. A streak of black light shot forth like lightning, appearing right before the 4 from the 9 Nether clan, and then a palm was struck out. Boom! The palm was as dark as iron, and the heavens and earth seemed to be shrouded in darkness. Death patterns began to spread from the void. If they touched a person, death was certain. The faces of the 4 from the 9 Nether clan instantly changed. Without hesitation, they immediately activated their semi-holy artifacts, and in an instant, light erupted, barely blocking the death patterns. However, this block only lasted for a few breaths. The spiritual light surrounding the 4 dimmed sharply, and the black deathly palm descended. The 4 were struck as if by a massive blow, tumbling back in disarray. Puffed! They all spat out a mouthful of fresh blood, their expressions somewhat disheveled. Thankfully, with the protection of the semi-holy artifacts, they were not corroded by the death energy and suffered no major injuries. This moment, they had finally fully realized the strength of the 8th grade beast spirit. Even with the help of the semi-holy artifacts, they could not overcome this powerful being. Roar, the 8th grade beast spirit howled to the heavens. The overwhelming, viscous death energy behind it surged like tidal waves. Its form shot forward again, intending to kill these invaders as quickly as possible. Boom! Just as it charged toward the 9 Nether clan and the others, golden light suddenly poured down from the sky. A massive great sun Dharma body materialized out of nowhere, its golden palm descending in an attempt to suppress the beast spirit. It was Mu Chen's intervention. Dong, faced with Mu Chen's sudden attack, the 8th grade beast spirit also swung out a punch. Death energy swirling. It collided head-on with the descending golden palm. The violent shockwave exploded, and although the massive golden palm seemed overwhelming, it didn't even shake the 8th grade beast spirit's body. Roar! The 8th grade beast spirit's gray-black pupils locked onto Mu Chen as it growled. It clearly recognized that Mu Chen was the one among these people who posed the greatest threat to it. Thus, it immediately abandoned its pursuit of the 9 Nether clan and others, transforming into a streak of black light, heading straight for the great sun indestructible body. Its mouth opened, and death energy wildly gathered and compressed within, like a deathly cannonball. The space around its mouth twisted in distortion. Mu Chen's eyes narrowed at this sight. The 8th grade beast spirit was indeed incredibly troublesome. Its combat power was so formidable that even someone like Jin Xingtian, who had come before, would likely be obliterated in a few moves. Boom! The death energy in the 8th grade beast spirit's mouth reached its peak, and it transformed into a death beam, shooting forward, piercing through space, directly toward Mu Chen. Boom! Boom! Faced with the terrifying assault from the 8th grade beast spirit, Mu Chen didn't dare delay. From within his great sun indestructible body, one golden sun after another began to rise, eventually exploding, turning into a golden torrent. The golden torrent was instantly transformed into a massive golden staff in Mu Chen's hand, which he swung down fiercely, meeting the death beam head-on. A tremendous sound echoed across the skies as the terrifying shockwaves spread, uprooting the forest below. Countless massive trees were shattered by the violent waves. The 4 from the 9 Nether clan watched anxiously, their eyes fixed on the sky. Mu Chen was their strongest combatant, and if even he couldn't withstand the 8th grade beast spirit, their hunting mission would suffer a significant blow. Boom! The golden light surged from the sky, and the great sun indestructible body's massive form was sent flying backward. Cracks appeared on its surface, and it ultimately exploded, turning into a shower of golden light. As for the 8th grade beast spirit, it was only knocked back a few hundred feet. While its surrounding death energy was momentarily disturbed, it had not been seriously harmed. Seeing this, the 9 Nether clan's members felt a weight in their hearts. The 8th grade beast spirit's strength far exceeded their expectations. This was the first time they had seen Mu Chen's supreme Dharma body being so quickly shattered by force. Under their tense gaze, Mu Chen's figure appeared amidst the golden light, his expression grim as he looked at the still death-filled 8th grade beast spirit. Without hesitation, he began retreating. Roar! As Mu Chen retreated, the 8th grade beast spirit let out a piercing roar. With a stomp of its foot, it shot forward like a streak of black light, chasing him down at lightning speed. The 8th grade beast spirit was incredibly fast. Within just a few breaths, it had caught up to Mu Chen. However, just as it was about to unleash its death energy and strike again, Mu Chen suddenly stopped, his black eyes, glowing with a faint, eerie light, locked onto the beast spirit. Then, as if slightly smiling, he quickly formed a hand seal. Buzz! As his seal completed, countless spirit seals flashed across the sky, emitting dazzling light. The surrounding area was flooded with beams of spiritual energy, each connecting to form vast and towering spirit arrays. At a glance, there were at least a dozen such arrays. To hunt down this 8th grade beast spirit, Mu Chen had clearly activated nearly all the spirit arrays he knew that could be of any use. The surging spiritual energy erupted in the air above the forest, resembling a mountain torrent. Countless spiritual energy threads wove intricate patterns, and the enormous spirit arrays they formed could be seen from afar. Even the 9 Nether and others in the distance felt a chill down their spines. They hadn't expected Chen to set up so many arrays at once, under such a heavy barrage of spirit arrays. Even an 8th grade Supreme would be caught off guard. Although the profession of Spirit Array Master wasn't known for direct combat prowess, once given enough preparation time, the combat power they could unleash would be shocking. In such situations, when powerful opponents face off, any wise combatant would avoid areas dense with spirit patterns. However, the 8th grade Beast Spirit, lacking the intelligence to do so, charged straight into the midst of Chen's complex arrays. Once inside the Spirit Array cluster, the Beast Spirit only then realized the imminent danger, sensing the threat with its instincts. It immediately tried to retreat, attempting to flee the dangerous zone. But clearly, Chen, who had carefully lured the Beast Spirit into this trap, wasn't about to let it escape so easily. Since you're here, stay. Skynet Array. Chen chuckled lightly and quickly changed his hand seals. Immediately, 2 identical spirit arrays appeared within the dense cluster, and countless spirit seals swirled around. These emitted beams of spiritual energy that wove together, forming a vast web in the sky. The beams, like gigantic serpents, wrapped tightly around the beast spirit's limbs, binding it firmly. The Skynet array was only a high-level Earth-grade array. On its own, it would never have been enough to trap the 8th grade beast spirit. So Chen had set up 2 of them to ensure the success of his plan. Roar. The beast spirit let out a roar as its body was tightly bound by the beams. A torrent of death energy surged from within, rapidly eroding the spiritual energy beams. The force from the 2 Skynet arrays lasted only a moment before they were completely torn apart by the beast spirit's might. However, Chen showed no sign of surprise. After all, the Skynet array was too low-grade. Even with the combined force of 2 arrays, their power was limited, and they couldn't hold the beast spirit for long. But this had bought him enough time. Chen took a deep breath. His black eyes erupted with spiritual light as his hands moved in swift, blurring motions. With the change in his hand seals, the numerous spirit arrays he had set up exploded one after another. Demonic Lotus Slaughter Array. Azure Lotus Sword Spirit Array. Indestructible Golden Bell Formation. With each incantation, a new spirit array appeared. The sheer number of these arrays, combined together, made the situation increasingly overwhelming. Boom, boom. As these arrays were activated, they immediately revealed their deadly intent. A spiritual storm rose in the air, and the attacks from the arrays, stunning in their power, rained down on the 8th grade beast spirit. Bang, bang, bang. The spirit array attacks exploded against the beast spirit's body, forcing it to stagger backward. The death energy surrounding it became disordered due to the intense explosions, though the beast spirit continued to retreat. The relentless barrage seemed to have only enraged it. A loud roar echoed from its mouth as it threw a powerful punch. A terrifying surge of death energy erupted from its fist, shattering the incoming array attacks with explosive force. Seeing this, Chen quickly retreated. The 8th grade beast spirit howled as it chased after them, death energy rolling in waves. However, as it suddenly stepped into a certain area, the death energy surrounding it violently contracted. It had sensed the escalating danger around it. Boom, the surrounding space suddenly twisted, countless spirit seals blending into the void. Amidst the intertwining light, a massive spirit array materialized out of thin air. As the spirit light condensed, it transformed into the imprint of a divine mountain, which then slammed down fiercely. Boom. The divine mountain seal crashed heavily onto the 8th grade beast spirit's body. The terrifying force sank half of its body deep into the earth, and a crack appeared on its forehead, clearly indicating it had been injured. Roar. The 8th grade beast spirit's eyes seemed to turn red at this moment. A beam of death energy condensed in its mouth, then burst forth, obliterating the divine mountain seal that had descended upon it, scattering it into countless light points. Boom. However, just as it shattered the divine mountain seal, 2 more divine mountain seals came crashing down from midair, smashing onto its crown and sending it crashing into the ground. The land around it collapsed in waves. At the outer edge, 9 Nether and the others couldn't help but click their tongues in amazement. If they had been caught in such an unrelenting spirit array, they would have long been wiped out by the continuous barrage of attacks. A well-prepared spirit array master is truly terrifying. Han Shan wiped the cold sweat from his brow. In the same rank, if one were to fall into such an encirclement, even if they escaped, it would likely come at a tremendous cost. However, Han Shan also knew that not all spirit array masters could control so many arrays at once. Clearly, Chen had a profound mastery of spirit arrays. This realization made him sigh in admiration. Despite his usual pride, he couldn't help but acknowledge that this guy was indeed a freak. Compared to him, their so-called prodigies looked a little dull. Even with such an onslaught, it probably won't cause fatal damage to the 8th grade beast spirit. Mo Fong said after a brief silence. Upon hearing this, Nine Nether and the others nodded lightly. Although it seemed like the 8th grade beast spirit was being suppressed by Mu Chen's overwhelming array attacks, the beast spirit possessed strength comparable to an 8th grade supreme. Up until now, it had not sustained any injuries that could affect its combat ability. Boom. Just as they spoke, the ground suddenly exploded, and amidst the flying debris, a figure wrapped in death energy soared into the sky. With a roar, death waves spread out, shattering the divine mountain seal that had been coming for it. At this moment, the 8th grade beast spirit appeared somewhat disheveled, its death energy slightly diminished. Nevertheless, it was still a formidable opponent. Mu Chen looked up at this scene, his eyes flashing slightly. He hadn't expected that, even after a dozen rounds of array bombardment, the 8th grade beast spirit had managed to withstand it. Whoosh! The 8th grade beast spirit locked its furious gaze on Mu Chen and pounced down, death energy surging like a skyward wildfire. Mu Chen stood motionless, waiting for the beast spirit to close in. Only when it was almost upon him did he suddenly stomp his foot. Buzz! Behind him, the space trembled, and once again, countless spirit seals appeared. This time, two particularly mysterious and powerful spirit arrays emerged. Within those arrays, strange glimmers of light gathered and flowed. God-slaying array. Mu Chen's gaze flickered as he softly commanded, and in an instant, the two spirit arrays erupted. Streams of light gathered, then pierced through the space, enveloping the charging 8th grade beast spirit. These final two God-slaying arrays were Mu Chen's most powerful killing formations. They had been brewing for a long time, and the God-slaying light, both in number and power, was far stronger than when he had used them before. The earlier spirit arrays had merely been for consumption. Only these last two God-slaying arrays were the real killing moves. If hit, even the 8th grade beast spirit would have to pay a heavy price. Whoosh! Whoosh! The beams of God-slaying light descended, and the 8th grade beast spirit's death energy fluctuated violently. It sensed the impending danger, but before it could attempt to dodge, its body was already enveloped by the God-slaying light and pierced through. Boom! Boom! The void erupted, and the body of the 8th grade beast spirit plummeted down, with fist-sized black holes appearing all over its body. From within these black holes, death energy began to leak out. Boom! The 8th grade beast spirit's body shot into the ground, causing the earth within a radius of 10,000 feet to collapse, massive cracks spreading out and affecting the entire forest. In the distance, Jiao and the others, witnessing this scene, couldn't hide their excitement. Mu Chen's long-prepared strike was indeed formidable. This time, even if the 8th grade beast spirit was incredibly strong, it would certainly suffer a heavy blow. Dust and smoke rose from the ground, and the area became a mess. Mu Chen stood in midair, gazing down at the collapsed earth, exhaling deeply. The simultaneous control of so many spirit arrays had caused a slight pain in his forehead, but he didn't relax. He knew very well that while he had managed to suppress the 8th grade beast spirit earlier and even used two God-slaying arrays, the beast spirit wasn't so easily eradicated. Boom! Just as this thought crossed Mu Chen's mind, a deep sound suddenly came from beneath the earth. His eyes narrowed slightly as he saw death energy spreading like a sea of death. Amidst this ocean of death, a battered figure slowly rose. This figure was covered in deep holes, with death energy constantly leaking from it. Even its shoulder had half fallen off and was about to break, clearly showing that although Mu Chen's successive attacks hadn't completely destroyed the 8th grade beast spirit, they had still inflicted serious damage. Roar! The 8th grade beast spirit's death-filled eyes locked onto Mu Chen, letting out a furious roar. Red light flickered in its eyes, and its instincts told it that it must devour the person before it today. Mu Chen hovered in the air, his gaze cold as he watched the 8th grade beast spirit, which was now fighting desperately. He then closed his eyes slightly, and a black light gathered in the center of his brow. Slowly, a pitch-black vertical eye opened. This annihilation eye was the final kill move Mu Chen had prepared for the 8th grade beast spirit. The pitch-black vertical eye gradually opened from the center of Mu Chen's brow, with black light spilling out, resembling beams of destruction. As the black light flickered, even the vast expanse of space would be easily pierced through. In the distance, Jiao and the others saw the vertical eye open on Mu Chen's forehead, and their expressions stiffened. The Mu-Chen had only used it to help scout since obtaining it. They all understood very well that the ability to pierce space and explore the surroundings was merely a secondary ability of the Annihilation Eye, given the relationship between Jiuyo and Mu-Chen. The former had vaguely heard Mu-Chen mention this Annihilation Eye before. It was said to be forged from the eye of the ancient treasure beast, possessing the potential to evolve into a true sacred item. In terms of value, even all the quasi-sacred items in their possession couldn't compare. The gap between quasi-sacred items and true sacred items was like a chasm. As the Annihilation Eye opened on Mu-Chen's forehead, the death energy around the 8th grade beast spirit surged violently. Its body, which had been about to charge forward, was forced to stop. Its body tense in an extreme defensive posture. Clearly, it sensed an overwhelming sense of danger from the Annihilation Eye in Mu-Chen's brow. At this moment, the beast's spirit was far from its prime. After being battered by the series of spirit arrays, it had suffered considerable damage, and its death energy defenses had significant gaps. If it were struck by the Annihilation Eye now, it would truly perish. Although it had no life left, its instincts still pushed it to avoid death at all costs. Its death energy surged in its eyes, and for a brief moment, it seemed to consider retreating. However, at this moment, Mu-Chen would not allow the heavily injured beast spirit to retreat easily. He nodded slightly to Jiuyo and the others in the distance, and they immediately understood his intent. A vast surge of spiritual power swept through the area, and their quasi-sacred items were activated once more, intercepting the 8th grade beast spirit and leaving it with no escape. As Jiuyo and the others formed the blockade, Mu-Chen suddenly flicked his finger, causing a jade bottle to appear. The bottle then shattered in midair, and a torrent of energy exploded out. This torrent of energy, like a river, flowed through the sky, and the spiritual energy in the surrounding world seemed to become more concentrated. Spiritual mist poured out from the torrent. Jiuyo focused his gaze and was astonished to see that the torrent was actually transformed from supreme spiritual liquid. Looking closely, it seemed to be nearly 1,000,000. Could it be that Mu-Chen is activating the Annihilation Eye, and it requires such a large amount of supreme spiritual liquid to function? Jiuyo paused for a moment, then secretly felt a sense of horror. The semi-holy artifacts in their hands were typically activated by their own spiritual power, allowing them to unleash some power. But Mu-Chen's Annihilation Eye actually needed external resources to be triggered. Mu-Chen sensed the surprise from the others, looking at the torrent of spiritual energy swirling around him. He couldn't help but sigh helplessly. He found it frustrating that activating the Annihilation Eye required so much supreme spiritual liquid. This thing was practically a bottomless pit. To use it once would consume 1,000,000 supreme spiritual liquid, and with his current wealth, even if he drained all his supreme spiritual liquid, he could only activate the Annihilation Eye 4 or 5 times at most. However, in this situation, if he wanted to quickly deal with this 8th grade beast spirit to prevent any unforeseen changes, he had no choice but to rely on the Annihilation Eye's power. With that thought in mind, Mu-Chen no longer hesitated. Changing his hand seals, the black light in the Annihilation Eye on his forehead began to condense. Then, a powerful suction erupted, like a giant whale sucking in water, swallowing the entire torrent of supreme spiritual liquid into the eye. As the Annihilation Eye absorbed such a vast amount of supreme spiritual liquid, the dark eye became even deeper and more profound. From a distance, it resembled a small black hole, if one stared at it too long. Even their own spiritual power would begin to dissipate. Mu-Chen's expression grew serious. He could feel the terrifying power that was gathering in the Annihilation Eye. Once that power erupted, it might even cause his head to explode. Taking a deep breath, Mu-Chen dared not be careless. He changed his hand seals. The black aura in the eye condensed layer by layer. The space around his eye started to collapse in on itself. The 8th grade beast spirit in front of him was rolling in death energy, retreating frantically, no longer daring to stay in place. In that brief moment, it sensed the imminent danger of destruction. Buzzed at Mu-Chen ignored its retreat and focused on the black light in the Annihilation Eye, which continued to condense. After several breaths, it reached its peak. Suddenly, the black light inside the eye erupted in a series of explosions. Annihilation Eye. Annihilation Divine Light. Mu-Chen shouted in a low voice, his hands forming a seal, his voice echoing from deep within. Whoosh! The black vertical eye spun and locked onto the retreating 8th grade beast spirit. In the next instant, A flash of light shot out from the eye, and a beam of black light, about 100 feet long, blasted forward. The black light was pitch black and thick, as though time itself was slowed by its viscous presence. Where it passed, there was no obvious destructive force, yet all vitality was ruthlessly erased in its wake. Even the spiritual energy of heaven and earth along its path was mysteriously wiped away. In the distance, Gio and the others felt their scalps tingle as a deathly crisis enveloped their hearts. The 8th grade beast spirit felt the same way. It roared in fury, unleashing all its death energy to form a protective shield behind it. Its body then went into a frantic retreat. Boom! The annihilation black light struck the death shield, but the overwhelming death energy failed to stop it. Instead, it was silently absorbed and dissolved. Whoosh! The black light pierced through the death shield, racing across the sky, catching up to the fleeing 8th grade beast spirit, and slammed into its head. Even as the beast spirit desperately activated its death energy to form a defense, when the black death light swept through, its head and neck simply vanished into thin air. The 8th grade beast spirit's body continued to rush forward for a moment before it finally began to fall from the sky, crashing into a massive tree and splitting it in two. Its once powerful death energy also disappeared completely, leaving behind only a withered body. In the distance, Gio and the others watched in stunned silence as the 8th grade beast spirit was erased with almost no resistance. After a moment, they came to their senses and gasped in shock. Clearly, they were all stunned by the overwhelming power of Mu Chen's annihilation eye. Truly worthy of being a treasure with the potential to evolve into a sacred artifact. Nine Nether murmured in awe. Although the previous 8th grade beast spirit had been weakened due to the consumption of much of its power, the annihilation eye's might was still terrifying. Its power was evidently far superior to the semi-sacred artifacts they had, surpassing them by several levels. It seemed that even semi-sacred artifacts were ranked by tiers. In the sky, Mu Chen let out a sigh of relief upon seeing the 8th grade beast spirit being erased. The annihilation eye in the center of his forehead slowly closed, bearing a hint of exhaustion that he moved, appearing beside the 8th grade beast spirit. With a wave of his sleeve, the desiccated body turned to ash, leaving only a black heart, which slowly floated up. This black heart was filled with a terrifying death energy, clearly having been tainted by endless death energy over millennia. This was the beast's spirit heart, the item Mu Chen and the others needed to enter the inner domain of the divine tomb garden. It served as the key to qualify for entry. Mu Chen waved and stored the beast's spirit heart, his expression relaxing. After such long preparation, there had been no mishap, and they had successfully hunted the 8th grade beast spirit. What made it even more gratifying was that they hadn't suffered any casualties, which, among all the teams entering the divine tomb garden, was likely something only the top clans could achieve. The power of the annihilation eye is truly terrifying, Han Shan said, his eyes wide with astonishment as he stared at Mu Chen's forehead. The cost isn't small either, Mu Chen chuckled helplessly. It takes 1,000,000 supreme spiritual liquid to activate once. If I use it too many times, I might even run out of supreme spiritual liquid for cultivation. The others couldn't help but smile. They knew Mu Chen was joking. With such a treasure in hand, they now had a powerful deterrent, and their chances of survival were greatly enhanced. In this world, no amount of supreme spiritual liquid was more valuable than one's own life. Since we have the beast spirit heart, let's head directly to the place where we can enter the inner domain, Mu Chen said. Looking around at the surrounding destruction, he was eager to enter the inner domain and confirm whether the ancient undying bird truly existed there. The others nodded in agreement without hesitation. Seeing this, Mu Chen wasted no time. With a flick of his sleeve, he shot forward like a beam of light, with Nine Nether and the others following closely behind, with no obstacles in their path. They crossed the forest in just a few minutes. However, as they passed through the forest, they suddenly noticed something unusual. What's that? Nine Nether pointed in surprise. Below them, the forest was marred by areas of destruction. The deep fissures clearly indicated that a fierce battle had once taken place here. Moreover, some of these deep ravines extended all the way to the other side of the forest, which happened to be where the 8th grade beast spirit had been erased. Mu Chen pondered for a moment. It seems the injuries on that 8th grade beast spirit were left here. From the marks, it doesn't look like it was a battle with other teams. The death energy here is too thick. This must have been a conflict between beast spirits, Imo Phone observed carefully. Beast spirits can also fight each other? Imo Ling asked in surprise. If something has attracted them greatly, even beast spirits will kill each other, Mu Chen replied slowly. His gaze followed the traces along the ground. Suddenly, he moved, leaping onto a mountain peak. His eyes narrowed sharply as he looked ahead. That place is